was at one of these tech days that I go to when I can. I get help from the various experts who have been doing this for, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Meanwhile, I'm a total newbie. I don't know how to do anything. But anyway, I didn't have the part, so all I could do is put it back together and drive home. Now I do. And let's hope I can remember how to get this thing off for now. First thing, there's a screw at the very bottom here. Now you can see the screw there. So, obviously, be mindful you don't drop it. And the hole is here for the threads, so that's one thing. It's just plastic. Or is it? That might be metal, but if it is, it's just aluminum. And these look like very fine threads, so you want to make sure you don't strip it when you're getting it back together. I'm sorry doing it with my nails. Yeah, the head of that must be like almost an inch wide, but it's very, very shallow, so it's weird. Anyways, as I recall, you loosen that. You can get this off of it. You have to kind of lift it and get another. Isn't that weird? It's this gigantic head on this tiny little shaft. And then this comes off. Now this is just keyed in there. So these are slots here. This is sort of like a slot thing. These fit into grooves. And that's a separate washer deal. And this is the cable inside here. I can feel it pulling on it. So this comes out. You can unhook the barrel. You see it just fits into that notch. And then this comes off. So now that that's free, this can be slid out that slot, I believe. There's a whole piece in there, like a sleeve, that needs to get out of the way, or slide out, basically. But as you can see, the sleeve doesn't want to let go, which is cable inside sliding through it. So that needs to move out, and then the cable can slide out the slot here. There we go. Okay. It's working, keep doing it. See, now that that's out a little bit, like I said before. And then I can access that guy. It's easier if you pull this rubber boot off, so that the thing I'm turning, which is separate from the cable, actually now rotates around it rather than grabbing it. This is kind of grabbing onto that, and the more you try to twist that, the more it just wants to twist back. You're twisting against the rubber. And it's got a little slot too, which you want to be mindful of. And one side's bigger than the other, so the bigger side goes on the big end, basically faces the big end, so that you can't mess that up. Or you could, I guess, but you'd have to really try hard to fuck up. In which case, that's pretty much you. So once this is all the way out, then we can pull the whole thing out and get to that other piece. There we go. So now I can get to this finally. I cut the cable here because this is broken anyway, so there's no need to keep it. Then I tried to loosen it by hand, and even with tools, but it wouldn't let go. And like I said, there's a paneled section inside. Here's the new one. This is the housing, the housing over it, and inside is this paneled nut type of deal. But it's inside the housing, so you can't get a wrench in there. However, I was told I could, by cutting it here, slide a socket over the top of that. And as you can see here, the socket will in fact slide over that just fine. However, I didn't have an 11mm socket, and also this is quite thin walled, and that will fit in the housing. You need a thin wall basically to fit in the housing, or something like this, which by accident worked. This is actually my father's old 1/2-inch drive standard, and luckily 7/16 is very close, or close enough to 11mm, and so I get to use my father's old 40-50-year-old set to pop this off. But I somehow fucked it up and it wouldn't let go, and in the process of trying to get it off, I ripped this housing off completely. So now it looks like this. And this fits on like that. But when the problem is, this kind of comes out at a slight angle. So to get the longer socket in there, it's hitting the bar. So as you see, and it won't quite seat all the way enough to grab the panels. So by loosening the clamp on the bar, I can slide it down here to where the handlebar actually starts to get out of the way for this maneuver. And then it will go all the way down. Except the problem is, it's too small and tiny, and I can't twist it because it's too tight. And this is a 1/2-inch drive. How am I going to get a giant 1/2-inch drive ratchet in there? Because it's still tight with everything else. But luckily, I forgot why. I don't even know why I did, but I bought an adapter to go from 1/2-inch to 3/8. So that's what I'm going to do. Yours might not be that stuck. I don't know why mine is. I probably fucked it up, I'm sure. So I got the 3/8 adapter for the ratchet to the 1/2-inch for the socket, which is not even millimeters. It's 7/16 turns out to fit good enough, at least for this. And by moving the whole thing towards this curve, this has room to now go in at a slight angle. You can see it wants to go that way, and the shoulder was too thick. Down here it tapers down just enough. Oh, by the way, when you cut the end of the cable, I cut it like right here, basically down here somewhere. You need to cut it right up here, or as close as you can, because this still has to reach inside of the socket. There has to be enough room to clear, you know, the ratchet, whatever this part is called, driver, to fits inside here. So in other words, you're not getting all this room. Part of it is being used by this. So this has to be enough to accommodate that thing sticking out, because the taper, the panels are way down here. So all this has to be inside the socket, so you can at least get this far in for that to grab to this, and that to fit inside of here before it runs into this. Now you can sort of see what I'm talking about. If this wires out, there's no room. It's just going to jam up inside here. It won't go in deep enough. The wire will hold it all apart. Anyway, that's probably more information than you ever wanted. Put it all together, in my case this way, fiddle with it until it lines up right. Off would be a good idea. And with the handle out, you can actually see, all you gotta do is break it loose actually. Which it was on tight, but now once I break it loose, it unscrews, then I don't need the ratchet anymore. Just do it by hand. Actually, I can probably just do it by hand here now. Yeah, it's loose. Now it comes out. There's the fucking thing. So this little plunger is what's broken. It's supposed to stick out like this all the time. Let me get it this way. There. See, it just gets pushed in, and then it comes back out to allow you to turn the motor back on. Here, it doesn't stick out anymore. Whatever the spring inside or whatever is worn out. So that's what happens. Yeah. So there it is. Came out. So we're going to put a new one in. Another thing about cutting it loose, like this, is I was going to do something else, which now I don't have to do, because the old cable is still where it in the old position. So now I don't have to figure out and guess, or maybe string something through the whole wiring harness to figure out where this path is. It's still there. I can just use it as a guide for the new setup, the new cable. Now I can do this first, tighten it by hand, and I can spin the whole cable around and around out here. It won't matter. And then I'll thread it following the old cable's path. And when I tighten it in, I'm just going to hand tighten it. It doesn't need to be, it's trapped. It can't unscrew. There's no, the cable is holding itself in, it's pushing it in. This is just to secure it in the housing. So I don't know why anybody would clamp it in super tight. There's no reason to. It just makes your life harder later. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to do right now. That was great. Now we just follow the old one back, basically. Instead of trying to trace it back, let's try something here. See if I can see what I'm doing. And tape this to this. If I tape that to that, do you think I'll be able to just pull it through and make my life easier? Let's find out. That way I don't have to chase it. You have to pull, but you have to also help it pushing it, because the other cables are still there tight, and it'll pull the tape loose. Oh, it's working. That idea worked, at least for one juncture. So I got it down by the neck and the what do you call it? Just underneath the instrument cluster there. And I've come to my first zip tie. How exciting! Oh, this is not part of that deal. Never mind about this big cluster. That doesn't matter. Let's see. Back to work here. Yeah, this is the one. I won't cut anything else underneath. Goodbye. And hello. Just put that right back where it was, and then I will loosely zip just as, you know, it's a space holder thing, and I can tighten up when I'm good and ready to tighten up. Meanwhile, this goes through here. Also, as this thing goes through, it wants to twist and turn, and not having it tight is good because it keeps it from. It allows it to do that. Now this is like super bolted on hard here. Oh, but that's it right there. Okay. So maybe before I release everything, I can put the new one kind of on. How's that for an idea? Rather than cutting it all loose and then trying to figure out where it was. Kind of the same way as rethreading it through the cable through where following the old one. So I'll do the same thing for the zip tie here. Where's that gone to? I can't see shit. Oh, there it is. Black and dirt and grease and black and shadow. It's hard to see shit. Actually, I don't have to start it. Oh, I did, I guess. That's good. That's fine. Perfect. Where's it? Now where? Okay. Right in front of you. Right where I put it. Now carefully cut this without cutting anything else. Snip it. Snip it good. So here's the thing. Finally got to the fucking plug. Ugh. It goes out, and where's the new one? Oh, the new one's right here. Just pull it all the way through. Just follow the same path. It's already telling me where to go. And by not doing the big zip tie there tight, this slides right underneath, no problem. Everything's loose. I can twist it and make it happy as it wants to be. That all looks good. Now I can untape this, and it looks kind of like firewire-ish. You know how the firewire stuff had like a little door shape? It was like almost like arched at one side and flat on the bottom, or the other side, I should say. But to me, it was maybe a doorway. This has the same thing. It's like a rectangle with two of the corners on one side. It's sort of angled. Okay, so this was done like this, so this was looser, way looser. This is like a lot longer than the original, I think. Or maybe it's so that to accommodate, you know, steering kind of shit. So I'm going to put it where it was. All I'm going to do is clamp this guy down now. Prevent vibrations. It gives just the way it's supposed to, I guess. It's supposed to be looping out there, maybe. And I think that's it. Except for reassembling everything, of course. Now, that was done 4 days ago, so hopefully I can remember how the fuck I did that. So, you may need to, now I don't like to over-tighten these things with the ball head. That's just for driving quickly and removing quickly. But tightening is better with these. Not only that, but the ball heads are expensive, and when they strip either themselves or your bolt, it's more of a hassle to replace than if these guys, which probably won't strip the bolt because it's a tighter fit, obviously. And if they do break or bend, they are cheaper. Also, because it's shorter, you can apply a lot more torque there. I might have to actually loosen that now I think about it, because I got to make sure it's in the right angle. I think I did. I think it's going to leave this up and in this area here. But I can actually modify it as I later on. I'll just say what I'm trying to kind of do the same thing I have on the other side, which I didn't change. So now I think the clutch assembly was the next thing. So that's going to be this part here. Goes like this, by the way. Now that's a separate piece, and then once this boot hangs onto it, it's a big hassle to turn this, because you got to turn the whole cable again, and I'm back to that problem. So I'm going to just spin it on and then just kind of pull the boot over the top. At least that's my plan. Oh, and I need the barrel for that. That needs to be over here. Good, got it off. So we're going in, please. Got this side. The barrel has a wide side and a narrow side, which makes it easy to figure out what goes where. Slides in from the bottom, by the way. There's a little track there that the cable goes into. And now I can just tighten this down. I think I'm doing it right. Just be mindful you don't get your fingers in there between the barrel and the arm, because that arm is under extreme tension. And if you slip and it clamps your hand between the barrel and that cup, that is, I'd never happened to me, but just looking at it right now, I can imagine that would be hurt like a motherfucker. So anyway, yeah, I just did that. Now this should be tight. Yeah, see, it pulled it up tight. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. And my tension here, my free play should be a couple inches, millimeters. Inches. Sorry, guys. American, you know. And it is. So I can just kind of lock this down. Oh, I know what that's for. No, I'm fucking up. That's what holds on the other thing. This isn't supposed to hang down here, by the way. That's supposed to be up here. That's what this is for. Now I got you. It's not. It turns out I'm not as smart as I thought I was. There we go. So now this screw holds that on. So this. Oh, let's see. That's the back of the thing. Okay. Yeah. Now we have a screw here. Yeah. So I just do it snug. I'm not gonna like really tighten it down. It's not gonna go anywhere. So. There we go. Everything's working. The horn doesn't work because there is no horn. The high beams work. All these parts work fine. It didn't do anything about it. That didn't do anything to it. That works. And now this should work. I can probably test it actually. If I dare put it in gear. Pull this in now. And it should try to start. Yep. It wasn't doing that before. I would be in gear. Pull it in and go back to neutral. I put it in gear, and I mean, if it died in gear, I had to fiddle around and get it back to neutral or something. It was a big hassle. Okay, so let me put the rest of the bike together, and then we'll see what's going on. my own shadow. I was like, who's that? Right next to me. That's hilarious.